Hey everyone, so we're going to talk about, I wanted to preface the kind of playing portion of the video with some background on the Karina Flying V that we're going to be talking about. So of course this is an Epiphone Karina Flying V. It's one of the ones that was released, I guess, last year in 2023 or late 2022. I can't remember exactly. But the first time I saw this, I've always wanted a Karina Flying V. The Flying V was the very first guitar that I wanted back when I was like 10. I thought it was a cool shape. And of course, never got it. Like most people, you don't get to what you want when you're a kid. But I did get an electric guitar eventually around the age of 12 or 13. I didn't really start playing it until I met friends and started skateboarding, got into punk rock and stuff like that in junior high. So anyway, long story short, so wanted a Karina V for a while. Gibson reissued the $10,000 Karina Flying Vs, which was just astronomical price because you could get a mahogany one for what, $3,500 or something like that. Even a custom shop one was like $3,500, $4,000. And then there's really nothing special or rare about the white limbo or Karina. It's, as far as I understand, it's pretty readily available. Reverend makes all their guitars out of it. It's not a rare wood. It's not particularly any more expensive. It may be a little bit more expensive to work with because from what I understand is that the wood dust is toxic, can cause health issues, but otherwise it works just like mahogany for the most part. So anyway, I always thought that the $10,000 price point on the Gibsons was pretty insane. But I did consider it, finding a used one. I saw a couple of them show up in the Gibson demo shop for like $3,000 off, and those are tempting. But then Epiphone released this, which was their 1958 Karina Flying V and Explorer. And I think the Joe Bonamassa Amos was the template for these because the pick guards are exactly the same and they don't match really any of the others. So the older versions. So when this came out, I happened to be, we were on a vacation in California and I went to Norm's Rare Guitars and they had the custom shop V and this one had just shown up. I guess it was brand new. They only had the one on the floor. And so I played them back to back, and the Epiphone was lighter weight than the, they had two of them actually. The Epiphone was lighter weight than the custom shop and played nearly very similar. The neck profiles are quite a bit different. The Gibson is a fatter neck, much fatter neck, and the Epiphone it's pretty hefty, but it's not a big fat boy like the Gibson 58. I really dug it. The Epiphone was great. The only thing I really couldn't stand was the plasticky finish, the poly finish, but it was a satin matte finish, and it was okay. I kind of got it knowing that I would probably do this in the end, but I tried to live with it for a little while, and it played great, but then the whole accuracy thing and mod bugs started to get to me. Knowing that, saying Epiphone on the headstock didn't really bother me too much, but the finish did, and just some of the details they could make it like it, look exactly like. In fact, I talked to someone who was at Gibson in actually control of the development of this kind of stuff. And he was saying that basically this is what the closest thing they could get for the price point to the custom shop. So they used the custom shop dimensions. They're made in China, of course, but there's basically the custom shop dimensions, and everything should be within a certain amount of tolerance as far as where hardware placement and everything like that is. Otherwise, it's pretty well controlled. And of course, there's little cost-cutting differences. But generally, you're getting basically the same shape. as the custom shop one. Made out of the correct woods, maybe not the same grade. And I noticed that some of the Gibson grade Karina is figured. Some of it's very figured. But in typical, the ones that I've run across, the custom shop ones have been pretty heavy, and all of the Epiphone ones, even the Explorers, have been fairly lightweight, like really lightweight. This one is also super light. So anyway, I picked one up. I thought it was a great deal for what you're getting. It came with Gibson electronics. It had Gibson burst bucker 2 and 3, and it had CTS pots, but they are the overseas CTS pots, the metric ones, not the Gibson branded CTS pots. And it had a Mallory capacitor. Well, let's look at those pictures here. So this is what came under the hood stock, and I was just kind of documenting stuff so I knew how to put it back together. But anyway, you get a real Switchcraft input jack, and I was just kind of showing how that's put together here. And then these are the CTS 500K pots, and now I don't know if they're audio taper or linear taper. They're just not the same build quality as the Gibson pots, but this is kind of what it looks like underneath the hood of the guitar as it is stock. Now, what's interesting, I don't know if it's hard to see. I didn't really take any pictures of it, but when you look at these things, the finish on it is, this is what the finish looks like right here. It's very plasticky, and I thought it was fairly thin, but it actually wasn't. It was, you can actually see it in the cutaway cavity for the rubber strip, how it's basically about 1 millimeter thick. It is pretty darn, and even thicker in some spots. It is pretty darn thick, and so that irked me a little bit. I knew after doing the one SG Epiphone, which the video is here on my channel, showing that the difference in tone from poly to wood to nitro was, to me, very drastic. I would definitely wanted to go down that route and get rid of this poly finish. Now the Epiphone poly finish is not like the Fender stuff. It is very difficult to get off. The Fender stuff is easy to get off. You pretty much heat it up and it'll peel up in like a big plasticky sheet. The Epiphone stuff sucks. It wants to crumble and shatter and just chip all over the place. It's really rough. It's tough to get off. I did not enjoy it on either Epiphone that I've stripped. It sucked. But anyway, did get it stripped. And this is kind of what it looked like in the middle of stripping and getting everything done. This has already had some of the work done. But the body basically in the white looks like what we looked at here. Funny enough, these holes are very rough cut on the front. And then I did fill, I got some white limba wood. It obviously is not the exact same tone color. I got it from Woodcraft and made some Karina plugs for the studs that were where the bridge holes were. The bridge mounting holes were actually smaller at the bottom, and then a top wider at the top, because they had flush mount. Originally they had flush mount the studs. They have a new kind of ABR1 looking kind of metric stud that went on here, which looks good as the stock form. It looks more like it should. But of course, I wanted to put a real ABR1 studs in here, so I made the plugs. They go all the way down in, and I made them, I had to machine them so that the top was wider than the actual plug base. And that's kind of how, let me make this bigger for everybody here. It's kind of how it looked. So this is with the work done. The studs have been plugged here. This is just sanding and everything, filling, getting everything smooth. The other thing that bothered me was the Epiphone headstock. So Epiphone, they put a plastic veneer over the wood. and stick the Epiphone logo on it, which is fine. But I like the Gibson bell cover, and I figured since I'm doing all this anyway, let's go ahead and do this. So I took off the fiberboard or the plastic overlay of the headstock and put on a real holly veneer. Now, the original 1958 Karina V's, I don't know if all of them are like this because I've seen a couple that look like they have a veneer, but most of the other ones that I've seen really good photos, and the one flying V I've seen in person in my hands has no veneer on the headstock. They had just painted black straight over the Karina. And what you see here is me simulating the wings that are where Gibson would glue on the wings to the headstock. So I measured those from a real V, and then I use a scribe to simulate that. And once I fill it and level sand and everything, you don't see it really, but hopefully over time the lacquer will sink just a little bit to kind of give that hint of that kind of look. And that's a stupid, nerdy, super nerd little detail that is just for me. It's really for me. But the main goal here was to be able to cut my own truss rod access hole, but also be able to see, if you can see the mounting holes, to be able to mount the truss rod cover like it's supposed to, which is like that basically, instead of the Epiphone one. So anyway, that's the holly veneer. Came out really good. Let's see if I have another pic here. Here's the side view of it. So it does, because I took off that plastic overlay, I needed the veneer to get the right headstock thickness anyway. So it kind of worked out in both ways for me. More pictures of the veneer. Obviously, it has a Graphtec nut to begin with. So I made a new nut out of nylon 6/6. I got a couple pre-made ones that didn't work out. They were just too small, and so I got a couple blanks on eBay of the right material, and then I just made my own, and that worked out great. So one of the things I talk about in the video, but I guess I didn't show, is I put the real correct ferrules on the back of the guitar, which made that Epiphone makes them flush mount, and they're inset into the body on the real V's. So I kind of did it the same way, but the downside is that the holes that Epiphone put in are a bit too big to be accurate, but it's okay. I'm not trying to fool anybody by doing this. This is all nerd crap just for me to appreciate only. I don't plan on selling this guitar. Maybe someday I would, but I would disclose every single bit about it just in case. But generally, this is just for me to nerd out on. But here's here's with the nylon 6/6 nut, and after it's been painted, I did decide to put a Gibson logo on it, mainly because I didn't want to drill holes for the Epiphone one. And I figured, if I'm going out for the look, I may as well just do the Gibson one. So I got that from Crazy Parts. I did keep the Epiphone Deluxe tuners. They're great. Sorry, that's my phone notification. They're great. They're basically just Kluson Deluxe tuners with Epiphone stamping on them. So I kept those. They work fine. But here's another look at the headstock painted with black nitro and clear amber tinted nitro. I did do this guitar twice. The first time I think I put too much amber in it. It looked a little orangey, kind of like the original Epiphone color, and I didn't like that, so I stripped it and redid it. This is just showing the thumb wheels with the ABR1 studs. These are Royal Mount. And here it is all painted up and everything. This is while I'm doing the inlays, which let's go back up here. So my friend Kim LaFleur at Historic Makeovers, I talked to him earlier this year and said, hey, I want to see if you guys have any cellulose nitrate dot inlays for dot inlay fretboards. And he did, so he sent them to me, and here it is. This is after putting them in. They look perfect. I had to drill out the acrylics and then flush mount these, and then shave them down to fit. You'll notice that the Laurel fingerboard here is dark on the frets that aren't scraped, because I darkened this with Monty's wax. And here they are after redarkening. And I've done this once or twice after this to kind of bring it back. And this fretboard looks freaking dark, like rosewood or Brazilian almost now. That Monty's wax is great. Great. It looks awesome. But there's just some, even though these are just dots, for me, this is another nerd detail that I couldn't live without. The acrylic plastic inlays didn't look good. And so I really wanted the correct cellulose nitrate inlays, even though they're dots. It just took it that much further for me. But anyway, that was the work that was all. Oh, and so the pickups ended up, I took out the burst buckers, put in Throbak DT102s because I had them. I didn't spend any extra money on that. I did spend some money on the pickguard, which Tom Bartlett offered a copy of an original 58 pickguard, and it fits. It has the wonky fitment as it should, the spacing around the pickup rings, and the weird way it sits. It's the real deal, made out of the right materials. I did get some Stumac knobs because I did change the pots to Gibson branded CTS pots because I had them extra and I wanted to use those instead. And which had a Black Beauty cap on it, and I needed the non-metric style knobs to fit on there. So I got those knobs from CTS, from Stumac, I think, and they were kind of the aged looking ones, but they're not beat up, so they're kind of tinted, and they looked the part. And everything on this guitar is just fantastic. This guitar is great. It is so acoustically loud. So the studs, the ABR1 studs in Karina plugs, really did add quite a bit of tonal difference. It just tightened things up and made it more resonant. And then I think that I feel that as I showed in the Epiphone SG refinish video, that I think that the change to nitro really kind of helped it out a little bit to ring a little bit more too. So all this stuff is nerdy crap. The stock guitar is a great guitar, but I wanted it really to be my own, and that's why I went through all this trouble to do this, mainly because I can, and because I have the ability and the confidence in my ability to finish it. The only thing I haven't done is relic it or anything like that. So I did. I'm not precious about it. I've bashed it a few times by accident. The cord has hit the guitar and chipped it in a couple spots, all by accident. Nothing's been on purpose. And I haven't put it in a freezer, mainly because I don't have a freezer big enough for this. But I did try to leave it outside in the winter in single digits. It didn't do anything. Granted, it was a pretty fresh, within a month or two of it being finished, but it didn't check at all. So I don't know. And I brought it straight in from freezing temps to a warm living room, and it didn't do diddly squat. Not a single check on it. So I don't know. I really don't know. You must need much colder than single digits. You must need below 0 in Fahrenheit to really check a guitar or something, because I don't know what the hell, how guitars get checked other than extremes. I mean, and I thought single digits was pretty extreme, but I guess it's not. So anyway, yeah, that's the story. So that's the guitar. So thanks for sticking through this part and checking out the playing. So some of it I'll talk about is a little bit redundant during the video because I'm educating Victor on what I've done to the guitar. But I wanted to kind of give it a little bit more detail. This is recorded after the fact of the playing stuff the other day. But I wanted to really I thought it was worthwhile to talk about this guitar for anybody who cares. Yeah, so everything's been changed on it except for the brass V plate, the Switchcraft input jack. I think the toggle switch I'm using is the same toggle switch because it's Switchcraft too, so that's great. I did put a real ABR1 bridge on it, and the tuners are the same. and all the wood's the same. But yeah, changed all the other stuff. But thanks. All right, man. Whoever was watching, thanks for checking this part out. All right. Okay. So Victor has seen this guitar before, but not in a while. This is my Epiphone 58 Karina V. So last time you saw it on the video, it was completely stock. It's not stock anymore. It has had a lot of things done to it. I think I kind of alluded to that might happen during that video. So it's been stripped of all the poly finish, which was super thick. It was like 1.5 millimeters in some spots. I thought it was thin, but it wasn't thin. It was really thick. Man, okay, so the finish is all nitro now. The headstock had a plastic veneer on it. And it, with the little Epiphone logo. And the truss rod cover on Epiphones kind of butts up against the nut, and there's just kind of a hole there. So that it just annoyed me a little bit. I figured if I'm going all out, what I did was I got a new Holley veneer, so I took off the old fiberboard veneer, put a Holley veneer. So original 58 Vs, I think maybe a couple of them had a veneer on them, but most of them it was just plain Karina. They just painted straight over the Karina because you can see the seam lines from the ears being glued on, but underneath the finish. And there's no veneer visible on the side. But the only way I could do it was put a Holley veneer. So I put a Holley veneer on here, put the correct Gibson truss rod cover, because I was able to cut my own hole. Tuners are still stock Epiphone. They're great. I think they're just Clusons that they say Epiphone Deluxe on there. And then these are the Gibson pickup rings from my SG Custom. They're almost the Epiphone ones are pretty much the same. They're just a little bit different. So I slapped these on here, but I used all the Epiphone screws. This is actually an early 60s ABR1 that I had for my SG Custom, but then I found a 50s ABR1 for that one, so this one was spare, and I used that one on here. It's got Royal Mount studs and wheels on there. This is the original Epiphone V plate thing, which is actually more accurate than I got Crazy Parts one, and this one's actually more accurate to the shape. These are I don't remember where I got these knobs, but they're a little bit different because the pots, I changed the pots, and the original ones are metric, and these are standard. So I needed ones that would fit on here. And these are just cheap, but they look pretty good. The switch tip I machined myself from old nitrate, from old Catalan. The guard is a Bartlett guard, so it's copied from a real V. And this is a Mojoaxe switch plate cover. The pickups are the old Throbak DT102s that I had in the SG Custom for a while. And then, so the Gibson burst buckers, they were okay, but they were potted, so they kind of felt a little muffled compared to these. And then there's a reproduction Gibson logo up there. Oh, and the last thing I did was I replaced all the inlays, because they were just like acrylic plastic.
Okay.
And so before Kim at Historic Makeovers passed away, he sent me some Cellulose Nitrate inlays, and so I replaced all the inlays. And that's it. So, and the other thing I did was, two more things actually. So the original string, so on a real 58V, the ferrules for the strings are sunken into the body. The Epiphone had them kind of flush with the top of the body. It's like a different style. And so I drilled those down and put them inset like they're supposed to be. The only downside is the holes are a little bigger than they should be. That's unavoidable. But, it's nerd stuff. This is all nerd stuff. Nobody cares but me. And then I changed the rubber strip, because this is a more accurate rubber strip. And then all 58Vs, the real ones, have like a dip right here on the back side of the this wing. to kind of contour for your leg. And that's how they intended it. Because they made the strip and then they made the dip for it to fit on your leg.
To fit better.
And the Epiphone one, the rubber was a little lower than flush. So the rubber would never really get on your leg. And I just can't play it like this. That was another factor. I was like, I can't do it like classical style, so I like to do it like this. And usually I have to, hang a wing off a little bit, so I have to sit there. But it works. Now it grips my leg, and so I'm happy with that. And some of the comments were like, on the last video, that guy doesn't know how to play a V because I'm sitting wrong with it. But hey, whatever. It's my guitar. I'll play it how I want to play
works.
it. But yeah, so see how it if it feels any different to you. It's been so long, it probably doesn't. But
it's been so long.
It definitely does sound different. I'll say that it sounds completely different to me. I did another video, I don't know if you've seen it, but where I refinished an Epiphone. I did the video, I recorded it before I did anything, then in the middle when there was just wood, and then with nitro finish, and it sounds different at each stage.
Really?
Yeah, it's completely, and for me, when I did the same thing here, night and day difference. This thing is acoustically super loud. Like I feel like I play it on the couch when we're just sitting and watching TV, and it's loud. It's pretty loud to me. So I love this guitar. This guitar's awesome.
It's pretty loud. I mean, it sounds great. I'm not used to playing a V, so I'm just trying to get it adjusted and see where the palm of my hand needs to be, and
that's why I just play it like a normal guitar.
Let me try that.
Oh, and I made a new nut. I made a nylon nut out of nylon 6.6, which is what it should have been from the original. It's all silly stuff, but it makes me happy. So
yeah, that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Struggling with it a little bit.
Yeah, I think this works for me better.
It's easiest to stand up with it.
Right.
reverb. How about this one?
It's a bit trebly, huh?
Yeah, that pedal is a little bit. Let me change the other one. Less bright, maybe.
Yeah.
That channel.
Let's go down a D.
Sounds good.
I think the guitar is meant to play
heavy stuff.
Some heavy stuff. Wow, the heavy stuff do I know?
What is that? What song is that?
That Slash, what was it called? Snake Pit?
Oh, okay. I don't think I've heard any of that stuff.
What was it called? I forgot now.
I don't know.
I was halfway through. I don't remember the rest. It's terrible. Let me turn it up. How about some Lenny Kravitz? I feel like the pickups are more punchy.
Yeah.
Especially after playing that Fender.
Yeah. It's louder.
Louder.
Over there, it's louder for sure.
Higher output.
Not super hot though, so it's not a gain.
It's not gainy. It's just higher output. Yeah, which I like actually. Yeah. doesn't run.
That's fine. It's all for fun.
Yeah. Anyway, we can cut that out. Wrong volume up.
Oh. Yeah, man. This guitar's cool. I like this.
I like it. It's just easier to play when you stand up. When you're standing up.
Yeah. Where should I put my pick? Yeah, it is. It's so much. Song. Yeah.
It sounds great, plays great. Sounds great, plays great. Yeah, it looks great too.
That was the main thing. It's all cosmetic. You know, silly stuff that to nobody else but me. You know, cool.
And I'm actually glad the actual wood looks good.
Yeah, they made it out of the right stuff.
What a waste, you know, when they put so much layers.
Yeah.
So many layers to it.
I get it. Most people want it really clean and pretty looking, and you know, want it to stay that way for a long time. But they do a scarf joint for the headstock, so it's got like a diagonal right here, and then they just glue that piece on, I guess. Whereas Gibson will make it all one piece, but they'll have to waste so much wood just to make that angle. You know, if it angles this way, they have all that wood that has to go away.
Right.
So this way they can save wood this way. But then Gibson will glue on ears because they'll do it thin this way. And I put the little ink stamp serial number just for fun. But yeah, man, it's a great guitar. It's light too. But the thing is, I bash this into things on accident all the time. I don't know. It's just, you know, if I'm in the bedroom just kind of meandering around while I play, I'll bump the door or something. Damn it! But I guess that's relicate. But yeah, this is a cool guitar.
Let me try that with some distortion too. Is it number 4?
Yeah, you can. That's the Beekeeper. This one is the Peace Hill Effects, which is a Dumble style pedal, but it's got tubes in it. That one's in it, and then this one's the Marshall. This one is the yeah.
Throaty.
It's not even all. And then this is a Klon. It's got like 2 Klons in one.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know. I still love this pedal the most. I think. The Marshall, I like it as well, but I was selling it, but no one's bought it yet. So. And I got this. I got this before I got this amp. So this out of the Fenders sounds pretty good. It's bright though. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll keep this or not. I'm definitely going to keep this.
Which one's the Beekeeper again? What number?
That one.
What number?
4.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great. time attempting Ingwe Malmsteen
Oh wow!
in front of the camera.
I think we had some audio issues with the mic input on the one side.
Oh.
It's work. I got it now, but we'll see.
Okay.
So, apologies anybody on the video.
Well, this is so much fun. So much fun to play.
Yeah.
I feel like I gotta play heavier stuff.
Go for it.
I need to learn heavier stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember anything right now.
We've been learning one thing at my lessons is the Avenged Sevenfold
Yeah?
Unholy Confessional.
Here, you wanna play it?
Like that? Yeah. See if I can play it. It's in D.
Low D.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, can you turn off the reverb? It's the last one. I think usually I do play this standing up, play it by myself. Unless it's on the couch. Because when you sit on the couch, you just kind of lean back and then the wing will just let it sit here.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll cut the video part of it short and then we're going to nerd out some more. So thanks for watching. That's the V.